Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who had to change his plans this weekend. You see, I was planning on reviewing the new Little Sims album. I've been listening to it and processing it. And then just for fun yesterday, I just clicked on the new releases. And I heard the first track off of Baby Keem, which I'll be discussing very soon, and I just immediately cleared my schedule. I just said, oh, this is what I have to listen to. I have to listen to this for the next 24 hours at least, and nothing else. And I've been completely absorbed in this album, and I can't wait to share with you why I like it so much. My framing device comes from that first song. So every review, I don't like just to say, I don't give grades or reactions, right? I give thoughts. And so I'm not going to give you a grade here, but I will give you this primary thought, this framing thought. In that first song, towards the end, he says, "I took the torch." Now, if you don't know, Baby Keem's a young guy. He's 20 years old. He's famously Kendrick Lamar's cousin. He's from California. I believe he was born in Carson. That's kind of a big deal to say, "I took the torch." When everybody knows Kendrick is your cousin, and when you're a young guy and you've just appeared on an album with Drake and just appeared on an album with Kanye, what does it mean? Can you really be that courageous? And can you possibly back up saying, "I took the torch"? So that's the question. Did Baby take the torch? Did Baby Keem take the torch? And from whom? Did he take the torch from Kendrick? Well, certainly, he has quite often a Kendrick-like flow, and it's great to have a Kendrick-like flow, except it's not a flow you can imitate without great talent, okay? You can't just you can imitate a lot of rappers and sound pretty good and not have that much talent. He manages to imitate Kendrick while also doing many of the things that Kendrick does well, particularly that sort of alarming creativity. I don't know if you get the feeling I get, but when I listen to Kendrick Lamar, I get anxious by how good he is, by how alarming. I just don't know what's coming next. Part of that is his ability to change flow, which Baby Keem took that torch as well. He changes flow all the time on here, to the point where you wonder, is it the same guy every time? I mean, I was introduced to Baby Keem a week ago, whatever it was, when Donda came out, and he's on one of my favorite songs on the album, Praise God, and I thought that he was three different guys because his flow is so different. Much like Kendrick as well, he has that mixture of intelligence and stupidity, but it's not a real stupidity. It's the stupidity of somebody who knows they're acting dumb, which is very different, right? So it's kind of like a willful, youthful, dumb aggression, right? Which Kendrick played with especially a lot on Good Kid, Mad City, right? A sort of self-aware stupidity. Also, I think it's important that he is very wise and very cunning, despite his sort of youth. And again, that's that Kendrick feeling. I don't know if this is a family trait or if it's just randomly these two people are in the same family, but it's very impressive. I think this must be why Baby Keem references his grandparents and his aunties and uncles all the time. It must be to kind of remind us of this link, but really all he'd need to do is just open his mouth and that link would be there. But maybe he's not taking the torch from Kendrick. Maybe he's taking the torch from Kanye. I mean, he is producing on this. This is a young guy, okay? A frustratingly young guy. What the hell young guy who is co-producing and even solo producing he co-produces all the tracks on this album, I think, or almost all. And he solo produces one of the tracks. So he already has that kind of ability to do it all, which his cousin doesn't do, right? And very carefully, he has on multiple occasions on this album imitated 808 and Heartbreak. But listen, rap artists, emo rap artists, whatever, bedroom rap artists, SoundCloud, whatever, everybody's been trying to do 808 and Heartbreak since 808 and Heartbreak came out. Not only does he match the sound, he actually matches the feeling and that artistic connection, that sort of confessional, epic confessional nature of 808 and Heartbreak. I think Baby Keem is actually taking that torch. That torch which previously, Travis Scott tried to take, Drake tried to take, and maybe Baby Keem is trying to take the torch from them. Maybe he's trying to take it from Drake. He is able to go between a rapper and kind of an R&B guy. He does have a weird sort of woman-hating, woman-pleasing side to him. The ability to go between R&B and rap seamlessly is there. And I'd say, like Travis Scott, he manages to do that rap, which on this channel we call better, you know, that kind of awkwardly, almost abstract usage of auto-tune. He's able to do better quite well and interesting while being a very meaningful rapper that people respect. So I don't know who he's taking the torch from. It feels to me like he's trying to take the torch from all of them, which is what you want. I think he might be, like, truly the next thing in hip-hop, who just manages to aggregate so much of what was great about the previous generations and just sort of put it all in one person, in one scarily young person. There are some issues I have with the album, primarily misogyny. So, I mean, like, I have a theory about this. First of all, it's a complicated misogyny. He's not just straight up like, I hate women and all I care about is the ladies. By the way, when I say the ladies, that's my PG way of referring to female genitalia, which he uses the P word for. So he raps a lot about the ladies. And I think this is it. I think he's young. I think he's been famous for a few years now. And I don't think he has that many experiences to really rap about. As far as I can tell, he's not making up about being a gangster. He's not making up about being a drug dealer or anything like that. So I think, and he doesn't seem to be abusing drugs, which is quite nice. So, you know, I think rappers feel like they have to have something to say, something which makes them kind of dark and dangerous. And it seems that on a couple of these tracks, he's like trying on this persona of like a womanizer who doesn't care about women. But then on other ones, it seems like he actually might have a positive relationship with women. We'll get into that when we cover the rest of the album. I will just say, what an amazing couple of weeks for rap music. It's bizarre, okay? Like, to have the Drake and the Kanye beef and like these two like gigantic clumps of albums fighting off against each other and both being great examples of what each of those artists can do. And then like on either side, we have the amazing West Side Gun album, maybe the best Griselda project of the year. And then on the other side of it, we have the Baby Keem album with the Kendrick features. We are just really living in a great couple weeks for rap, in the middle of a great year for rap, because that's not even mentioning them. The Rap Ferreira album, the Tyler the Creator, Arm & Hammer and Alchemist, and what might end up being the best rap album of the year, the Playboi Carti album. Feel free to get super mad at me in the comments. I don't think it's the rap album of the year, but I suspect that it might end up being by the end. I don't know. I want to go back in time and tell old me before I started this channel, how good rap was going to get, you know? Because the thing is this, I wouldn't know how good this album was if I hadn't spent the last 3 years steeped in the way that hip hop is turned. You know, I have to learn how to accept so much. This album is so good, but I had to be smart enough or flexible in my mind enough to appreciate what makes it so great, what makes it so good. I have to learn to deal with the production, to the trap drum beats, to this kind of flow that he has, to the emo side, and most especially to his usage of autotune. And just for fun, I remember when I first heard the song Death of Autotune by Jay-Z, I was like, yeah, he finally gets it. But can we just say that that is the #1 OK Boomer rap song of all time? The Death of Autotune? Like, that was like 12 years ago. Man, Autotune is sticking around and it's getting better, right? I mean, that's what Kanye was able to show with Brera. He took all these people, I mean, with Donda, he took all these Brera rappers who were inspired by 808 and he used them and he's able to show the dynamism of the Autotune form. Another thing about this album, about the Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. First of all, it's a great album cover. I'm not going to show it here, but it's just him sitting on a dock with this rainbow. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful name, the Melodic Blue. I don't get what it means, but there's a great precociousness to Baby Keem, where he knows he's doing something big even though he's young. But this album ended up being, accidentally, a totally family experience. So my son is a junior in high school, and all of his friends are really into rap, and so I just, out of curiosity, I was like, hey, are your friends all talking about the Baby Keem album? He's like, who? It's like Baby Keem, he's the blah, blah, guy off of Praise God, Damon Pada. Oh yeah, him. No, they haven't said anything about it. So then we go and we all get haircuts, all four of us. Angelo cuts all of our hair, great hairstylist. And then we go down and we get sushi underneath, very good sushi, right underneath where a stylist is, and we're having a nice Friday night, family night. And then as I drive home, my son goes, "Oh, my friends, all they're doing is talking about Baby Keem." I'm like, "I just asked you on the way to the haircut." He's like, "Yeah? Well, apparently they discovered it, and it's all they're talking about. They say it's the best thing." And that's just it. Like, you hear this album, and much like me, you just clear your schedule and just go, "I have to get into it." So we're listening on the way back from the sushi place, and while we're listening, the Dr. and Mrs., my wife, who didn't grow up with rap music, so it's all kind of new to her, is like, "I like this very much." And my daughter, who likes rap music a lot as well, but you can never quite tell what's her taste, she is loving this album. So all four of us are there just listening to these tracks, after getting our hair done, having some really good sushi, some takoyaki, and we're just like totally happy listening to this. It's a great family experience. I do have a question though. What's the deal with the Tame Impala thing? Why does he keep saying Tame Impala? What does it mean? I know I could look it up. I could look it up on Rap Genius, or I could look it up on Urban Dictionary. What does it mean? Why does he keep saying Tame Impala? I did want to give a shout out to one of my viewers. It's just because it's a funny story, and I think it tells you about this album. Maybe a downside to this album. Okay? There's a chance that this album gives you a sugar rush, but then afterwards you kind of regret it. It's like fried dough. Like, you eat it and you're psyched, and then you sort of regret it. A commenter, Logan Hubbard, said to me, "Try the new Baby Keem. It samples 808 and Heartbreak, and it's a really cool new album. I think you should check it out." And then like 10 minutes later, he posts, "Never mind, I listened to it and I didn't like it." I think that might happen to you, not just him. And that almost happened to me at times. It is a very good album, filled with very good songs. But there's just something where it doesn't quite make it. It doesn't quite make it to that just like unbelievably amazing, best of the year, hands down. But at times it feels like it could. So let me take you through the album. Sorry if I seem distracted. There are literally like 5 deer like right outside my house eating apples. We have an apple tree. Tastes so good to me. And there's like all these deer underneath. I would show you, but that would scare them away. So that's just in my peripheral vision. Let me take you through. This is why I don't edit the show. I would definitely edit out the part about there being deers out there, but I'm not going to. So let me take you through the album. Normally I do like an example track to give you an idea of what the album sounds like, and I'm going to do that, but the example track is that first song. That first song that made me call my administrative assistant and say, "Hold my calls, cancel all my meetings." And so I'm going to put my finger up here, and you can go to that song. It's called Trademark USA. The kind of production details, the attention to detail, the modular production here, there's like 5 different parts. There's like so many different flows. He is just showing everything off. Right on this first song, it's just like, I'm going to list all the different flows that I hear from this 20-year-old rapper, what he's able to do. I'm going to try to describe all the things that happen in the music, but there's so much that's happening that frankly, I'm being a little bit irresponsible recording this only 24 hours after I first heard it and listened to it 10 times. Like, I need to listen to this album like 10 more times to tell you all the production details that are going in here. Starts off, what an opening. It's like weird underwater sample with voices in the back, a mournful kind of emo. I'm going to call this flow number 1 a sleepy, earnest flow. This is his most sincere, clearest delivery of anything that he's saying. And what is he saying? He's saying that fame has ruined him. Bam! That leads right into flow number 2. I'll call it the young and dumb flow. It's kind of Kendrick adjacent, it's kind of like a slightly aggressive, kind of high-pitched yell. And he just starts saying, "Trademark that lady." Trademark that B word. Sorry, the deer just ran across the yard that way. Saying, "Trademark this." He's just like getting super aggressive, and like he just totally switched gears completely. And while he does this, there's this very brave production choice of this ring that sounds like tinnitus. I have a slight case of tinnitus. You know, while I was driving back from the sushi place, I joked and I said to my wife, hey, would you make sure that your seatbelt's on? Because it sounds like an alarm. But it's just like, just great, grimy beat. Just super great. This great, grimy trap beat. Then he gets in this kind of like third flow, which I'm going to call intentionally dumb, where he just sort of like repeats himself a lot and does that kind of thing where it's sort of like, you know, like trap rappers, just keeps repeating himself. Although it's not really that dumb because he keeps on saying, shot out the dead. Shot out to the dead. I don't know why he's saying it, but he's just saying it. And then goes into, I'd say, flow number 4, where he's much more of a fast rapper, kind of a trappish, triplet-style rapper, that then leads into this weird vocoder breakdown, and then there's like this harder part that comes after that. Really, this modular production is some of the most interesting stuff that's been happening in hip-hop, because it creates multiple songs within one. And then here, we get to flow 5, which is like a kind of vocoder sing-song style. Underneath, all of a sudden, we have like these Hans Zimmer blah horns. There's this woman's voice that comes in out of nowhere. I'm a hot girl. Like, it's not really quite clear. It's very abstract. Again, I mean, the thing that I'll tell you about all this hip hop that's happening right now is they are really pushing at the barriers of comprehensibility. Like, there's a lot. I mean, between, as I was saying before, about crack rappers pushing language to the point where it doesn't make any sense. Kanye eliminating drums for the most part and making gospel hybrid stuff, and even Drake, his album is just very strange. We're really pushing the artwork for I'm really pushing the art forward. My living room, talking to you about deer. But they really are pushing. And then we get to flow 6, which is just for one line, but this pops up a couple times, where it's like intentionally really dumb. Make me lose my mind. He does this a couple times to the album where he just does stuff that's intentionally dumb. Goes back to the young and dumb flow, which is the main flow that rules this kind of Kendrick adjacent flow. And this is where he says, I took the torch. He talks about never having a dad, thanks his mom. But then the drums go out and then he just kills it. And he did this on Praise God as well, where just like he just goes on these runs, these kind of breathless attacking runs, where he's just like, damn it, man. This guy just kills it. And he even touches on his mom's alcoholism. And then he ends with a flow number 7 that I would say is like kind of an angry guy. I was 15, I was 16. So I don't know. What is this Trademark USA even about? It seems to be partly about like capitalism, maybe, partly about the melting pot, like the melting pot of styles. I can't quite tell what it is. He's saying a lot, and so much is going in here. And as far as an album opener track, it just stopped me and made me listen to it and made me pay attention to this artist who I thought might be good. The next song, Pink Panties. It's called the R. Kelly rule. Never use the word panty in any of your songs. Whatever. Kind of a pop effort here. It's one of these weird, like, how misogynist is it songs. One of my favorite lines, I put my soul in this condom. That's weird. Fairly kind of, like, it seems like a simple beat, but it's actually pretty well developed. It seems like it might be kind of a sweet song, but it's not really, because at times it's clear he like expects sex from someone because of the money. But at the same time, he also like seems to be comfortable treating himself like a booty call. You know, like, call me if you ever want the D, you know? So this complicated relationship with women then gets further developed in the next song, Scapegoats, in which he admits that he treats women as scapegoats. This song's like a great soulful beat, this female vocalist in the back, kind of haunting and weird. He starts like rapping when there's no drums. I love this line. One day I'll tell you about my life was unfortunate, but now I'll just tell you how fast the Porsches get. You know, just a really well-constructed line. Again, another nice one. I don't hate the trendy things. I just don't like to feed the trends. This is a way in which his cousin's influence is very clear, where it's like Kendrick is very proud of like not following the trends and not being like everybody else, but you know, he also sort of sets the trends, you know. And I really think that this is a very good 1-2, this Pink Panties into Scapegoats, because just by saying that he makes women into scapegoats, it doesn't excuse what he's saying, but it shows that he's at least self-aware to a certain extent of what he's doing. The end is cool. It's got this kind of nice contemplative piano, and then that leads into Range Brothers. This song is bonkers, completely wild, so modular. I can't even start to tell you all the different kinds. We got him and his cousin, and they're both switching flows so much it would have taken me like an hour just to like diagram all the different flows. It's got this like weird blown out bass, and he just said, "I need a girlfriend," that like joking, like what's the deal? Baby Keem, what's the deal? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is this, a funny thing? Are you joking? Is this what you're really saying? Are you half joking? I just can't tell. Just so many different flows here. I don't even know really how to talk about Kendrick's verse. The thing I love is that he waits forever to come in, and there's a big modular break, and he comes in, but then like he does his thing, and then he has interaction with his cousin. I mean, I don't know. It seems like Kendrick is understanding memes. And I know he's a very serious guy, and he's hanging around with his beach cruisers, and that's all he's doing. He's not at all paying attention to social media and all that stuff. He's not an overnight activist, as he says later. But it does seem like he understands meme culture, because I mean, he just keeps saying top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning. I guess it's leprechaun flow. Like he just keeps saying it over and over again, and there's no. And then Baby Keem jumps on and he does this weird overpronounced TikTok style rolly gang, rolly gang, rolly gang, rover gang, rover gang, rover. Like they're playing with this kind of stupid triplet, little pop, little perp, little whatever, style. Okay, boomer. That kind of 6ix9ine goofiness. But they're doing it in such a pronounced way to the point where it becomes satire. But it's satire, but it's also the thing, because you're also hearing them and you're also thinking, rover gang, rover gang, rover gang. And it just sounds like they're having fun. That's the main thing. It just sounds like they're having fun. Like two cousins hanging around, joking around, being serious, joking. They compare themselves to the Wayans brothers, which is great. Wayans brothers deserve a lot more credit than they get. What's the deal? Like, why are Wayans brothers not household names throughout the entire world? Or at least America. Anyways, not the Wayans brothers. We're not the same. And just the way that Kendrick says, he's Keem. This is very funny. Like, there's just so much in this album that's very funny and catchy. What's not funny is the next song, Issues. This is a song which sounds exactly straight off of 808 and Heartbreak. The rhythmically does a kind of like the marching band drum trick that Kanye used. The rest of the sounds sound like they come from 808. But again, it's the feeling of 808 and Heartbreak. That's the feeling that you get. The bridge is just gorgeous, total Love Lockdown style. And then even the lyrics are not entirely self-pitying. Why do we play the victim? Good times are ahead. Next song is Gorgeous. Kind of a miss on this one. I like the beginning, kind of self-harmonizes. Apparently, I read somewhere that he's very influenced by Kid Cudi, and that's very clear. I mean, that's the other thing. Whenever you say that someone is influenced by 808 and Heartbreak, you're saying they're influenced by Kanye and Kid Cudi. It's not just one. It's both of them, right? But then it gets in this kind of like straight trap beat. It's a nice mixture of production styles with the piano at some points. Keeps, again, talking about Tame Impala. I'm just not quite sure. I am happy that he does say at one point, Prada bag, I use my B as a prop. And this is what I've been saying for the entire year. Rappers now rap more about women's bags than they do about their suits and belts and watches. And I think it's because rappers have done that, so they just have to keep talking about their Birkins and their Pradas. And so I like that he's saying the truth. They only, if you're ever given a Prada bag by a rapper, it is a prop for them, not for you. Also, a little bit of insecurity, I might tell here, because he talks about the women that he's with, and he says, I give maximum performance. That's just a weird thing. That's a weird way to put it. It seems to me like he's like trying to say that he's a good lover, but it's like I try really hard. It's not like I'm the best. It's like, I really work hard at it. I don't know. And then he says, I can't fall in love because I'm heartless. Is that just a reference to Kanye? Or is that him trying to admit something. I don't know. To him, I'd say, dude, you're 20. It's fine. Next song, South Africa, very simplistic piano beat, kind of like trap start and stop. A lot of start and stop beats on here. Changes the flow slightly. I like that, especially when it makes reference to Shabba Ranks, and it sort of becomes a little bit like a stilted flow. Next song, Lost Souls, is definitely the low point on the album. This is the most Torch from Drake song. Kind of reminds me of, I don't know, like I Need Love by LL Cool J, in that mold of just like rap songs that are trying to be love songs. I mean, it has a second part, which is better, but then it leads into Coco, which is great. This is cool, almost reminds me of like a Timbaland style beat from the 90s, but these cool like recorders in the background making these sounds, very upbeat, very funky, very nice. Don Toliver's on here, again from Moon on Donda. Nice to hear all these people again. Great kind of tight, just a nice singing verse from him. There's the whole song though is weird. Like again, like he's revealed maybe too much about his relationship to women and his insecurities, because he talks about like being given ladies as a friend, but then like feeling like she actually wants to give ladies to his friends, and he feels like a middleman. Like I'm not like young, right? I'm not like a young guy, right? My kids try to explain things to me. It sounds to me like it's a confession of two different terms that are used these days. It seems as though he's admitting to being a simp and an F-boy. Isn't that what they are? If you're younger than 43, I'll be 44 on Monday. If you're younger than 43, is that the proper usage of the term? Is that what he's saying in this song? Or am I just an old guy trying to use young people's words? Am I lit? Tell me in the comments. I do like, there's like this whistle that comes in, which is a really nice part in the song. And the whole thing, like this whistling kind of annoying sound, grating sound, fits into the next song, Family Ties. I think as far as a rap album goes, it's a very good, cohesive album. It doesn't feel like single after single. It feels like the songs are put together with care, right? In that way, it's more Donda than other albums we've heard. And Family Ties with Kendrick, it's very horn-led, nice whistle sounds. His verse is just like, I like how he leads his verse with just words, and the beat comes in. It's just a great flow. And now I have to talk about Kendrick's verse. Okay, so I talk about Kendrick being very good, but I think I underrate Kendrick based on this. And I've seen some people say that this isn't a good verse. Now, if this isn't a good verse, I don't know what a good verse is. It is just awesome. Like, he does these 4 lines, and they're good, and they're cool, and you feel like you didn't catch them. And then he says, "You're playing with me," and he says them again. "I am the Omega Rolly Gang, SIE, don't you address me unless it's with 4 letters. I thought you'd known better. I've been ducking the pandemic, I've been ducking the social gimmicks, I've been ducking the overnight activist, yeah." Like, just a beautiful like set of lines that remind you of his flow, his ability to play with beats, his word choice, just everything that makes him just so exciting. It's that alarming creativity, I am a legacy, I come from the 70s, the Al Green, Offspring, the Guns and the Melody, the Big Shot, wrists on cryotherapy, better get right, like the ambulance coming, us 2 on light, Keem, been through nothing, I'm tripping, I'm judging? My mental is amazing. And then he does what, is this the first time Kendrick has used this flow? It's the first time I've listened to all of his music, but maybe I've just never recognized this. I'm gonna call this the white guy flow, like cultural appropriation of like, it's like Eddie Murphy doing an impersonation of white guys talking. It's like, my mental is amazing, brother. Like, he just keeps using this term, like, the brother, next time, new flows, brother. And it's the same thing that I felt with the other song with Kendrick. They're just having fun. And, I think we need more of that, Like, I mean, Donda's great, but I don't get the sense everyone's having fun. Certified Lover Boy's good. I don't get the sense people are having fun, Really on these, you just get this, like, back and forth, and it feels like that Torch that Keem is taking could be a fire under Kendrick's feet, right? I mean, obviously he's giving him space, he's giving him credit, he's not like, but it feels like Kendrick knows he can't just treat him like a little kid who's nipping at his heels. He has to take him potentially as a competitor. Which then leads on to the next song, Scars, which is my daughter's favorite song by far. Like, she was just like loving the song, which does mean a lot, right? Like the ability to sort of like go across different tastes, you know? Another kind of Kanye 808 marching drum sound, very emo rap, asking God, why is life so hard? Everyone who meets me confuses my heart. But you know, I like emo rap. I like it. I mean, when it's done well, it's great. And this is the great gift of 808 and Heartbreak and the people that followed it, is, you know, young men are not allowed to express their feelings in general, right? Or at least it's discouraged. And that's true in all societies. That's true of people of all races, you know? But definitely culturally, how often are young black men, I mean culturally, I don't know about in the actual communities, but I mean like as far as outward facing for an audience, how often are young black men encouraged and embraced for expressing inner turmoil and sincere emotional doubt? You know, and just like all these real feelings that everybody feels. Everybody feels. Not some people, everybody feels. But for a long time, I would say that our culture dissuaded that, discouraged that. And this is what's great about emo rap, and while I will always defend it, even if I make fun of it sometimes, is it's really important that everybody hears and knows everybody's humanity, every aspect of everybody's humanity. It's not just anger, right? And anger and sadness are roughly the same thing, right? So we need to hear the anger, the sadness, the joy from everybody. And then maybe our society will be better. God damn, I got preachy. I didn't mean to get preachy. Sorry. If you found that annoying, you can tell me in the comments, okay? Or if you liked it, you can tell me in the comments. Next song is called Do Rag Activity. I don't know what that means. I get the sense it means something really dirty, so I didn't look it up, because if it does, then you'll be laughing at me talking about it this way. This is with Travis Scott. Cool, weird, like heavy staccato snare sounds, just weird sounds all the way through. Really great bass on this, catchy high synths. Just as far as like modern rap production goes, this is just a great produced song, you know? It's not like transcendently good, but as far as like a very solid modern sounding rap beat, it's right there. I really like Travis's verse. He's just kind of good and scary and all these weird sounds. I will say throughout the entire album, the sex act that is referred to the most, I believe, is Cunnilingus. And that is a change in hip hop. I think it's a positive change in hip hop. Before, it would never be mentioned, rarely be mentioned, or it'd be mentioned as a way like that's something I'll never do, or it would be like a sort of performative thing, you know? Here, it just seems to be a natural part. So I'm going back to this whole theme about sexuality and women and how it relates to Baby Keem on this album. That does change a little bit, right? Because it's not the other way around. It seems to be that that's the thing that everybody is talking about on this album. And obviously that's centered on the woman's pleasure. So I'm going back to this theme of how misogynist is it. If you replaced every single one of those references with oral sex in the other way, right, then the album would just read very differently. I'm talking way too much about this for a video that my kids' friends might watch. I'm using euphemisms. Listen, this is about the human experience, okay? And these are all parts of the human experience. The next song is called Boo Man. And this is the one he's produced by himself. It's a cool, almost like mariachi sounding horns and like a stop and start beat. It's not much of a song, but it's nice to hear him do it himself. First Order of Business is the next one, nice odd beat. And this is the other side of Baby Keem. And this is what I think is the truth. I think he's probably just a nice young man. I get the sense that like if you had him over for dinner, even though he's a millionaire and he raps about all this stuff, I get the sense he's just a nice, pleasant guy to hang out with. you know? And I don't get that sense from most musicians. Certainly not most 20-year-old musicians, okay? But just listen to this opening verse. First order of business, dog, I gotta thank my mama. Second order of business, share the blessings, no more trauma. Third order of business, do good deeds and get good karma. First order of business, get this money to my shorty. Loyalty and gratitude, the only thing you swear me. Will you be the person that's gonna love me in my 40s? She's like talking about all these people that he cares about. And it's not like anger, it's not bitter. It's just like what matters to him is to protect his family, to care for his family. And then what really matters to him is someone who's gonna love him in his 40s. And I can tell you, someone who met his wife in his 40s, that's what you want. That's the best love, right? Young love is not great. It's exciting, but not good. But anyways, I really want to highlight that there is a sort of, who is Baby Keem? Is he the guy who's like very aggressively aware of the way he treats women, or is he somebody who's looking for love? He's probably all of them. The next song, Vent, does a lot to destroy that good young man that I was just talking about. Great, weird synthesizers with these echoes on them, this grandiose and strange feel to it. But it's just a song, a very angry, angsty song with Kendrick opening up saying, have you ever been punched in the mother effing face? And Baby Keem just seems to be in this very angry mode, which is good, but maybe less interesting than others. The album ends on a total out of left field, old school 80s R&B song with some very nice production details back and forth that I didn't quite expect. This is music made by a certified lover boy, okay? I was joking about Drake being a uncertified hater man, right? Like his album's much more about hate than it is about love. But this is a song by a young man who's like in love with a woman who's down and out and about her troubles. And there's a lot of empathy and sweetness, and it's kind of a pop song, it's kind of an R&B song. This, when I think of what would a certified lover boy sound like, this is actually what it would sound like. It's not my favorite track on the album. If the whole album was like this, I wouldn't have been as excited. But that's the whole thing about Mr. Torch. Mr. Torch Taker, the Human Torch. You know, how does he has all of these different things that he's able to do in one album, and it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel label driven, right? I mean, he's co-producing all this stuff. It seems like he is just naturally making this good music. And like, this album is great, but it makes you even more excited for the next album and to see where he goes now that he has the torch. Damn, that was a slick ending. It's like I have a script. I don't. I have notes. This is my weekend show. So this is the show where I definitely shout out my Patreons. You know, there's different levels. So these are the top level Patreons. If you don't know, I take the money that my Patreons give me and I buy music with it. And I'm going to buy the Baby Keem album. I almost went by the Record Archive today to see if they had it. But we ended up not driving by there. So thank you very much for helping me buy the Baby Keem album, all these people. I'm almost at 20 Patreons, which would be the most I've ever had. It could be you. All right. Well, until next time, where I should finally get to that Lil Sims album. Seriously, hip-hop, what's going on? We are, I mean, golden age. Are the deers gone? Yeah, they're gone. I was going to try and show you, but looks like they're gone. Okay, there's the camera.